McDonald's fans, a big change is coming to your favorite restaurant.
They're going to start using real meat.
That's not the change.
Not it.
That's not the change. They're phasing something out that has been with this restaurant and other restaurants for, gosh, I don't know, 40, 50 years.
One of the reasons as a kid I always wanted to go to McDonald's.
So we'll tell you what that's going to be and when it's going to say bye-bye in just a few minutes. Hang on. Hey, it's Tony and Chris. Glad to have you back.
Hello.
Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you. We had a nice little jump. We crossed that 3,000 subscriber mark. So thanks to those of you who hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it.
And thanks to every one of you that has shared our link. We appreciate it. It's because of you. If everybody watching shares it with just one friend that starts following us, that really helps.
They'll share it with one person, and
So
they'll
on.
share it one. Okay,
Exactly.
Something for the oldies. Glad to have you with us. Make sure you hit that like button and hit us up in the comments with anything that strikes you during the episode here. So let's dive in with some music news. And if you're a Swiftie, we know that this is old news to you. You already know. But the Eras Tour, which has been just a monster tour, is coming to movie theaters.
Now, you've got daughters that love.
Both my girls, and I say girls, I mean they're women,
Yeah.
30s and 20s. But yeah, Meredith and Lexi both love her. They both saw the show. Meredith actually flew into Nashville from New York so they could go together and see Taylor when she came. So yes, big fans.
Well, let me see. Rachel and Lily already have their tickets. They didn't offer me one. I would have went because I think Taylor does a great show.
Oh, yeah.
And I think she's absolutely brilliant because there's a lot to unpack with this, how she set this up. Most of these movies, when you see somebody, they did a movie, it comes out when the tour's over and it makes $15-20 million at the box office. At the peak of the tour, she announced this, but she went to the movie studios first and said, hey, I want to do this. And the movie studios talked to her like the movie studios do. Well, we've got this movie, I don't know if this is the actual movie, but like Mission Impossible 8's coming out. We've got this coming out. We'll fit you in here and we'll take this much of the profits. And that's the way we'll do it. She picks up the phone and calls AMC direct and says, let's work a deal. Skip the movie studios. Now they are livid because they don't get a piece of the profits, and every screen she's on is taking away a screen for one of their movies. So it's brilliant.
It really is. And frankly, with everything going on and like the writer's strike and everything, it's just nice to see the big studio people like that taking the shorts a little bit because, come on. So yeah, if you're going to go see the show, I guess the pre-sales are already around $65 million. They think it'll be probably $100 million opening weekend. And then there's some articles saying, it's probably not going to draw people who aren't fans. Duh.
She's got enough to make $100 million.
Yeah. Why would you? I don't understand why people write articles like that.
That's somebody thinking like, they're doing it to, it's like, for instance, I know somebody in East Tennessee that's like, Chesney hasn't played Neyland Stadium. He could sell it out. Of course he could.
You think?
But it's a business decision of, do we make enough money and how quickly you can do it and all that? She's going to make plenty of money and super server fans, which is what that's all about.
And that's key, yeah. Then the other music thing we wanted to quickly talk about, a couple of things. One is a bar that shall remain nameless, but who the owner we know and we've been around it. They had quite a debacle in trying to capitalize on the Oliver Anthony phenomenon, I guess.
They booked them and decided they were going to sell the tickets at around $100 each, and then meet and greets were like $200 or something around that ballpark. And this Oliver guy sees that on social media and posts, hey, don't buy tickets for this. I don't want to. Nobody should pay $200 to meet me, and my tickets are supposed to be around $25. Now, he said, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. It was a miscommunication maybe between the guy that's helping me, which was a plumber, and the bar owner. Well, the bar owner shot back with here's the contract, but the contract he posted had different dates and wasn't signed. So it's a lot of he said, she said. Anyhow,
this is starting to sound like there might be a bar owner who's shady. I've never heard of that before.
And Oliver is now playing at, I think, the Civic Auditorium. I think that's where it is, but for $25 a ticket, the way he wanted it. It sold out within hours. Regardless of how that was, if there was a miscommunication or not. My business sense, I would have said every bar owner we know, and we know some in Chicago, LA, big time. I mean, more money than we'll ever have.
Oh, yeah.
Owners.
Yeah.
And they said sometimes they'll take a loss on booking a show because they know the beer and liquor sales alone
more than make up
will make them money. So if you add in parking, beer and liquor sales, food sales for a night, if you've got 1,500 people in a bar, they're going to do okay. And that particular bar owner's told me before, like, I made $80,000 this weekend or whatever off just drink sales. So
I don't understand sticking it. I mean, like big acts that have been around that are like monsters. I mean, I bought tickets over the summer, didn't get to go, but tickets for barely over $100 to see the Cure. And that's a legendary band. And this guy's turned $100 into.
I get trying to make your money back of what you're paying. If he was truly going to pay $120,000 for the guy to play there, I get that, saying I want to be even and then make all the money on that. But that's what I would have done in that situation when it started getting bad.
Yeah,
I would have went and found 3 or 4 local bands to open up, and I would have said, you know what, we're going to refund everybody's money. We're going to make the show free, charge $20 for parking.
Yeah,
so you make some of it back in parking, and say doors open at like 2 p.m. But once, they get the 1,500, nobody else can come in. And if somebody leaves before then whoever's in line can come out. And I would have set up a roped off area outside and had a big screen TV put up where people could watch and charge for that, like $10 or whatever. And then you would have made your money back because people would have been in that bar all day.
Make it like a little mini festival.
Yeah, a little mini festival. And you would have made easily your mony back and some.
Well, you're super shady. Maybe you should be a bar owner.
I should be a bar owner. I am very shady.
Okay. And then one other thing about music, honestly, I have been kind of tuned out of our own industry because we've been so busy doing other things. But I saw Marin Morris come up in a headline the other day.
Yes.
Is she still jabberjawing with Jason Aldean? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, well, I see both sides of this, but she's fed up with country and says she doesn't like where it's going because there's a lot of people, wear their political beliefs on their sleeves, and she's one of them.
I do miss the days though when it was you could enjoy anybody no matter what.
Waylon Jennings, a big Democrat, love his music, and I'm like, I didn't care that he's a Democrat, didn't care he's Republican. It's just weird to me.
Well, the world has changed so much, and the political thing has become so divisive that, in the past, if you were whatever political party you were and you liked the art of someone who wasn't aligned, you wouldn't necessarily care because nobody was really that vocal about it, and people weren't so crazy.
I don't care about I love the Marvel movies. 90% of those actors are very liberal. That doesn't make a difference to me. Yeah. Like, I don't go, oh, what are their political beliefs? Okay, I'll go see the movie. Clint Eastwood's a Republican. Love Clint Eastwood movies. I don't care.
Yeah, so. It's just one of those crazy things. So, but they start talking about good things and not liking where country music's going and whatever. Pick your genre. Things are different. Bands don't need record labels as much anymore. Bands
radio stations
certainly don't need radio anymore.
I mean, radio's still important, but it's diminishing every day. And again, to your point, they don't need it. Yeah. Like, it's there and it is important, but it's not going to make or break you anymore because you can get your own system up, touring, selling merch, and streaming, and make a great living and not have to play by the rules of radio or record label.
Well, and we've seen this for years, even though we were in that industry, nobody is going to radio to discover anybody new. If people are out there, especially younger people, looking to find the next thing that they're going to love, they ain't doing it on the radio.
No.
Because that's just not what it's, I mean, my youngest daughter.
Any format.
Yeah, my youngest daughter, when she was still in school, so she must have been in her teens, and Ellie Goulding came out with Lights. That was like the big song that kind of broke her, I guess. And I was like, man, I love this song because I heard it on the radio. And Meredith was like, oh, wow, I've heard that on YouTube 2 years ago or whatever.
Well, and that's the thing now is everybody's building their own playlist. And now, like with Garth starting his own radio station, look for more people doing that. I know Eric Church is in the process of building a studio in his bar, so I expect him to have his own radio station. And it's like, we've got our own brand now. We'll just go do this. We don't need radio station. I think radio is going to be very much like newspaper. It's going through a tough area right now.
Well, even and like Mal Hall, our buddy and comedian, when he was on, talked about the fact, it used to be the way you did it was you paid your dues and then eventually maybe you get a Netflix special. And he says, I realized I don't have to do that. Yeah, I can make my own thing. I can have it produced and put it out on YouTube. And he's not the only comedian doing that. There's a lot of guys. That's how they're doing their thing. They do their tour, they film their own stuff and put it out there. And why not?
I think it's a great opportunity to plug him. Mal, check out his special, Mal Hall. We'll put the link up here. He's great.
Yeah, links in the description. Awesome guy, funny guy, super nice. I just love him to death. Speaking of comedians, it's like we almost planned this. Anthony Jeselnik, and I don't know if you know him or not. He's not a household name, but he's big. He's had lots of specials, and he has a particular style of humor that I love, and it's called gallows humor, where he makes fun of everything. He's like, the world is such a dark, crazy place. He goes, you got to be able to make fun of all these things. And he goes to some places that I think make some people very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I enjoy that to a degree. And then the only time I don't like it is when people want to lecture me that I went too far afterwards. That's when I get annoyed.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. He opened the show basically. He said, I had a lady after a show run up to me and say, Anthony, you got to rethink that closer of a joke. It's problematic. It's wrong. And it dealt with the trans community. And he said, I thought about it. And I looked and I said, you're right. I've got to change that. So now it's my opener. And he went ahead and did. But I just love his style, and he's very good. So we saw him at the Ryman Historic Place. And the Ryman's not a comedy club.
No.
And now that's not.
I saw Daniel Tosh there, though.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of comedians there. I saw Trevor Noah there. Saw a couple other people. So you should be able to have fun no matter where you're going to see a comedian because it's supposed to be a good time. Everybody's having a good time, but there still have to be some rules. And they posted everywhere. Even like the ushers were wearing like sandwich boards around their neck. No cell phones, no pictures, no video, no heckling or yelling out, or you will be ejected. And I saw them, they really held on, like the cell phone thing. There were people running.
Ryman's pretty tough on that.
But the area where we ran into some trouble is, and the guys walked in, and I could see they were going to be trouble immediately because they were already drunk when they got there. Not that I have a problem with that. But like this one guy starts like talking to strangers, and these guys came and sat down next, and he's shaking their hand and introducing them to his friends. I'm like, oh boy, he's going to be a problem. And Katie she just went like this. She had a gold chain on. She goes, that's everything you need to know. So her judgment was made on a gold chain. But we were wrong. During the show, he was not the problem.
Okay.
The dude next to him, though, decided I'm going to break every rule. So he's yelling out and he's being a real pain, even during the opening act. And then I start realizing he's vaping weed out of his vape pen, which, of course, again, Not allowed. I just don't understand when we became a society that said, rules? No, those don't apply to me. It's so easy to go have
Nashville
a good time.
too. Everybody they get off the plane drunk in Nashville now. That is the thing. And it's like if I had a nickel when I lived downtown a few years ago, I would be walking down the street and see a group of guys or ladies coming out of a bar, and they would all be like, Nashville ain't ready for us. It's like, yes, you've cracked the code on how to handle Nashville. Then you'd see them 2 hours later passed out on the sidewalk, being robbed and peed on.
In that order?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. And I don't understand why people have the need to do that. I'm cutting loose, I get, and having a great time.
But if you're at a comedy show in particular and you think you've either got a better punchline or you think you're going to outwit them by yelling out something that the whole audience is going to be on your side, well, you're sorely mistaken.
It was great because he's such a, his attitude is so... He's got a real swagger about him. And at one point, some guy across the way yelled something at him, and he just stopped and kind of took a couple steps forward. He says, you got something to say? Like, just like that. It was like, you could hear a pin drop, and then he just goes, yeah, that's what I thought. And then he went over there saying, it's like, the guy was like, I do not want to get into this. At least he had the good common sense at that point to say,
it's Murderer's Row. I saw someone heckle Seinfeld at a thing, and that's what he said. He goes, really? He goes, you're on Murderer's Row right now. He goes, I've done this for 30 years. You don't think I can handle you? And the guy's like,
yeah, I mean, it's like, come on, jeez. I've just never understood that. I'm going to pay a lot of money so I can go and ruin everybody's good time.
But that's because they think they're going to be funny. They think like, oh, what I'm doing right here, everybody. It's like I was at that baseball game I talk about where my boss was at, and my boss was heckling a 17 or 18-year-old kid. And every time he'd say something, he'd turn around and look at everybody like, everybody's loving it. Everybody's thinking I'm so clever. And it's like everybody's looking at him like, what an idiot.
Yeah, you, sir, are a jackass. We won't spend a ton of time on this, but just quickly run through. You saw a movie that you really liked?
I've seen two.
Oh, okay.
Equalizer 3 and Haunting in Venice.
Great.
Both great. Loved them. I mean, they're great rentals. Don't spend the money for a movie ticket. Save it.
How does Equalizer 3 compare to Equalizer 2? I know it doesn't compare to the first
Equalizer 2, believe it or not, because I hated the ending of Equalizer 2. I like Equalizer 2 better.
Okay.
Equalizer 3 just didn't have the of a villain for me.
Okay.
It was more, they kind of based that movie more about him finding a place where he felt like he could fit in this world.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll still see it when it's time to rent it. And the
rental.
Yeah, Honey in Venice. I love these Agatha Christie movies, and I love that he has found that place for himself, that playing this role.
I wish they would cut a deal with him where he would just film 2 of these a year for like 5 years, and then we know every other year we could get a new movie from him like clockwork because they're great.
Excellent. We've seen a few things, but the one I'm really high on right now, and I wasn't sure, I didn't know much about it, but it's the new Jennifer Lawrence movie, No Hard Feelings.
Yeah, I heard about that. How is it?
I loved it. It was so good. She really kind of flexes her comedy chops a little bit, and the character she plays is a hoot. And there's several other good people in it too. I wouldn't recommend it for kids. It's got its sexual content is pretty heavy. And what's crazy is, and it was weird because as we're talking, Katie said, "Has she ever done a nude scene?" And I said, "I don't think so."
Oh, yeah, the fappening.
Well, not. I said, other than leaked.
Oh, okay.
Other than leaked cell footage, I said, I don't think she has. And like seconds later, it is a big nude scene. But what's interesting about it is it's not sexual in any way. It starts out, you think it's going to be, they're skinny dipping in the ocean, and then these kids come up and they're going to steal clothes. And she basically comes marching out of the ocean and hands them a beat down while she is buck naked. And it is awesome, and I think it's what a way to control how you're going to be seen.
Yeah,
whatever. Anyway, very cute movie, rated R for a reason. Just be aware of that. But I was very pleasantly surprised.
Okay,
how good it was. A quick note from the grocery store diaries. Haven't done this one in a while.
Okay,
and this comes back to people like I don't understand what's happening to people. So you go to the grocery and you put your groceries on the belt, and then they do their thing.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of people, they put the groceries up there, and then like ladies, they'll put their purse on the conveyor belt. And they'll put like their credit card like out on the belt so that when the belt turns,
I haven't seen that.
It goes right down the thing. And I've watched the cashier go, well, I can't get that back. And people are panicking and freaking out. And they're like, why did you put that on the conveyor belt? And I was like, why are they doing that? And then when they get up there, so if you know how grocery stores work, you put your stuff on. And then when you get up to it's time to pay, you go to the other side of the,
yes.
Most of them have the plastic up. You go over where the little machine is.
Yes.
And I have watched multiple people stand to the left and try to hand their debit card to the cashier. The cashier has to go, I don't handle this. I said, take 2 steps.
First time at a grocery store.
Seriously, it's like take 2 steps over, and then that's where you pay. That's for this transaction to continue. You're going to have to go over there.
Wow.
So what is happening?
Well, I've got a story then I'll throw in here that I found very entertaining.
Okay.
Lily and I had to run in and grab just a couple. Like I had the basket. That's how quick it was.
Okay.
Run in and we come back, and the line for the self-serve area was at least 7 people deep.
Mm.
Like you're waiting to get up to the 4 or 5 that they have that self checkout. And we're in line, and I look over, and there's a lane that's open with a cashier. And I'm like, oh. So we just walk over, and we walk up, and there's 3 guys, all about 16 to 18, sitting there. 3 of them. And they're like, huh? Yeah. And I put my stuff up there, and one of the guys is like, hi. And he starts like we have put him out, and the other 2 guys are just start talking like they're not bagging anything, they're talking. And so when this guy gets through checking me out, he starts bagging up the other stuff while the other 2 are bagging, and then another guy comes out from behind a counter in another area and starts helping him bag up. And so I'm like, took 3 of you kids to do absolutely nothing.
Wow.
While one kid does the work, and I was like, oh, they're ready for adult life. That's the way it works in offices.
It's funny. I see so many young people working at grocery stores, and I guess it's a good starter job for people, but they just don't have that
go get
itness. It's like, I'm here. But like we went to Target the other day, the kid said not one word, didn't say hi, how are you, didn't say thank you. Like even when Katie addressed him, nothing.
Well, I'm telling you right now, if you're young and wherever you get a job in any business, smile, go after it. You will zip up the ranks. Our beloved Cody has been given a raise so many times, is making triple basically what he was making when he was working for us.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
And he's loving life because he works hard and he's pleasant to be around. So if you go in and really say, I'm going to work hard, you will skyrocket.
So you talked about self-checkout, which kind of brings us to what we're talking about. The McDonald's is changing. They've announced they're phasing out self-serve soda.
Is it because people are abusing it, or they have a plan? Or
they said there's a few reasons. They have seen such a drop in people coming in.
Yeah.
And then they have a really hard time keeping it clean because people are pigs.
I think a lot of restaurants, their new models, you know how about every 5, 10, 15 years, one of the chains will knock down their store and build a new design.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Chick-fil-A is not far from nobody will come in and there'll be 3 drive-thrus.
Well, to their credit, they make it work.
Because they're ahead of the game on that stuff. So I could see that happening before long, that everything's just drive-through, just like you don't even come in.
Yeah. So I know a lot of McDonald's have the kiosk thing where you can just put your order in and then they bring your food out. So they said this kind of goes along with that. They said they just don't see the need. But now it's going to take some time. This is mind-boggling. You think about how many McDonald's there are. It's 2023. They said it could be 2032 before this project is complete.
Wow.
You're just taking out self-serve soda machines. Almost 10 years to do it.
Unreal. And while we're talking about McDonald's, if you want to see the creation of McDonald's, basically, a fantastic movie is called The Founder with Michael Keaton.
It is excellent. What it really shows you is that Ray Kroc was a real piece of junk.
Yep.
I mean, he was not a good person. Did a lot of great things later in life, but man.
Well, that's buying your way into heaven.
Seriously.
Well, I've been just a horrible human being my entire life. It's getting near the end.
I'll throw some money at some things and I
better start being good.
Yeah, but it's crazy. So if you're a fan of the self-serve soda at McDonald's, enjoy it while you can, because in 9 years, it could be gone. Some locations is already gone. So there you go. One other quick note I was going to say, have you seen one of these? It's called a dot card. And
Okay.
I just want to say, I love this. I get nothing for this, but it kept coming up on my feed on Instagram. And I was like, that looks kind of cool because
Yeah.
you know, business cards in this day and age, who wants to carry around business cards or have to hang on to one? It is $20, one-time fee, and you put all your information on it.
Okay.
So I tap your phone with this, and you can see it looks like a social media profile.
Okay.
My picture comes up, what I do, and all my connections and it's got a QR code on the back, so if a tap doesn't work, if you have a friend who still has a flip phone. But it's amazing, and I just thought it was really cool, and I was going to throw it out. If you've been seeing the ad, you didn't know if it was.
Yeah, I have been.
It is 100% legit, and it's very cool. Works like a charm. There you go.
Hey, remember, we got Amazon now.
Remember that, and we have to say this, if you use our links to buy anything, and we hope you will, that we get a little piece of that as Amazon influencers, so it's a setup kind of deal. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you hit that like button, throw some comments in there, share, and subscribe, and all those good things, and we really appreciate you so much.
See ya.
See you soon.